Hey, what's going on, friends? My podcast every day is broken up into two parts on the free platform. The first part, Act 1, is right now. When it's all done, go right on over to Act 2 to get the second half of the podcast. Thank you so much for checking out my show. Well, hello, friends, and welcome into the Eric Zane Show podcast. This is a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures, and we have a lot of all of those things to get to today. Sit tight on the free beer thing because we've got more pressing things to get to than that nonsense. But a lot of it is centered on that horrible accident last night in D.C. I don't know if you saw that. It was one of those smaller passenger jets that smashed into a Black Hawk helicopter. 64 people on that thing during its descent into the airport, Ronald Reagan National Airport, on Wednesday night. And this is just incredible. Horrible. What a bleak scenario. There's video of this. There was some stationary camera that caught this moment. So I know that this can be like triggering to people. You know how it is nowadays. I mean, no joke. If you play anything for people and they lose their shit. So I'm giving you a warning here. Now, you're not going to see, it's all from a distance. But this is how it transpired. There's no audio to this, but you see the bright light right in the center here. That's the plane that's going to be hit by the helicopter. Ignore everything else. Now, just to the side of it, you see a little light moving towards it. That's the helicopter. So this is that moment right here. As you actually see it. Getting closer, whammo. My God. And then this is an even closer look at that. Holy crap. There is thoughts that they will find zero survivors. They have been working tirelessly to try to get people out of the water, but it's looking more and more now like there will be zero survivors. I just heard from my son, Jim. Jim has screenshotted what Trump said about this. Jim writes, everyone's dead, and this is what the president has to say on his right-wing echo chamber of a social media site. Trump writes, the airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter, Trump is establishing this comment based on that horrible video that we just saw. Trump saw what you and I saw. Video from far away that looked like grainy. And Trump has already determined exactly what has happened. Like he's got it down. He writes, the airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane for an extended period of time. It is a, all caps, clear night. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up or down or turn? Yeah, I guess that's $1 million question, President Trump. Why didn't it go up or down or turn? And then he says, why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane? This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. All caps, Not good. This looks like it was written by a little boy. He has zero information. Nothing. And here he is now dropping that. It's not like, oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, terrible tragedy has taken place. And that's typical presidential shit, right? But then again, this guy is not presidential. What a pile of shit comment. Now look, all my Trumpers, and there's a lot of you, I have said to you since he was inaugurated, well, this is it. And I have been pretty much leaving the guy alone. I mean, we know what to expect with Trump, so nothing really surprises me. And some of the things he's done, I'm like, that's kind of the right thing to do. I don't hate that. I don't hate everything. I'm not an idiot. There's nothing that gets me more pissed off than people that just like, oh, well, we're going to kill him no matter what. We're going to hate him. So I just kind of take a step back from all that. But this is so stupid. This is just dumb, man. Come on. What is it that everybody says these days? Do better. You got to do better. Nick says, if you ever look at that flight tracker map, it is amazing that this doesn't happen every day. Oh, without a doubt. Well, hell, you could see it as another plane right there in that. So God knows. God knows what's going on. You could sit there and say, well, this could have happened, and I'm going to do it right now. It could have been somebody was incapacitated. We don't know. It could have been terrorism. This could have been like a kamikaze mission by a member of the military. Don't rule that out. I mean, how often have we turned around in the past several years and there's another fucking asshole at a military base shooting up the place? We don't know. We have no idea. Probably not. But those wild suggestions are as plausible, I guess, to everything else there. The one thing that I will say that seems remarkable that it could even happen, the way, there was plenty of distance between them. How did you miss that? Nick says, I hope we get a newscaster reading 4 hilarious new flight crew names. Seriously, that may have been one of the most outrageously awesome pranks that has ever occurred since, man began. All right? Nothing has ever been more successful. Badger says, air traffic controller was on TikTok watching cat videos. I don't know. Who knows? All right. So I just wanted to get to that. That is truly a horrific thing. It is kind of a very rare thing to have a plane go down, a United States-based plane go down, it seems like. I remember when I was growing up, it seemed like there was a hell of a lot more of those things happening. There was one that happened near my hometown in City of Warren, where at the airport, which is not in Detroit, it's, I don't know, probably about 15 miles away in Romulus. And Middle Belt Road is like you take off, and then if you're on Middle Belt on the bridge, you see the planes, you see the belly of the plane fly right over you. And some pilot was doing his thing, and they have, all right, flaps, check, throttle up. You got the flaps? I got the flaps. All right. Hey, I don't know, something feels weird. Throttle's up. And you sure you got the flaps up? Flaps are up, Captain. All right. He hits the gas, pulls up on the thing. Plane starts to lift, but not enough. You know why? Because the fucking flaps weren't up. He's like, asshole, I told you, but oh, fuck, shit. Oh, my God. All right, they're up now. Hit the gas. I am. And he hit the bridge. He hit the fucking bridge. It was horrible. I was a kid when that happened. I was like, oh, my God, tension in the city of Warren. All right. Now, so I did want to address that. I also want to address that this is a short show. Badger says, wasn't there one survivor in that one? I don't know. I don't remember. This is a short show. I have to go to Detroit today, which I'm sure this is going to result in some hijinks and hilarity to talk about tomorrow. I have to go to Detroit to Ford Field to host a charity fundraiser for an organization known as Hope Network. They're based in Grand Rapids. They're having a big deal at Ford Field, and I'm hosting. So I'm like, oh, okay, because I ran into these folks at the hockey game one time, and I go, if you ever need help hosting, I always host. That's one of the things I do. And they go, we don't pay. I go, doesn't matter. I host for charity events. I'll do it. If I'm free, I'll do it. She goes, are you free this day? I go, I am. I'll do it. That was the day I met Eddie Murray, the legendary Lions kicker. I posted that picture of myself, Pooh Bear, Eddie Murray, my friends from Hope Network, and Darren McCarty with his red mohawk. So, yes, I am. I'm heading there to host that today. So I got to keep this show short, unfortunately. But I have a lot to talk about, so I better just get to it. First of all, this show originates in the Impact Power Sports studio online at impactpowersportsmi.com. You can visit them in beautiful Rockford, Michigan on 14 Mile Road. And check out their great selection of stuff that they have available for you to check out. That is fun. ATVs, UTVs, e-bikes, motorcycles, golf carts, all there at Impact Power Sports. Okay, so yesterday when I was podcasting, somebody said, yeah, Greg threw some shade at you. I go, oh, okay, well, I'll have to go back and check that out. And boy, did he. And it's, and one of the comments I made to somebody is, he's at a massive disadvantage. Who knows how many people would be on board with Greg taking his little needles, his little jabs. I think Logan described it as these subtle little teeny tiny jabs, and no one on the show has balls to actually say, yeah, what is his deal? I mean, that would be something. I would be tempted to do a whole segment just to blast me, but that would require a lot of effort on their part, and I'm not even being facetious when I say that or rude. You have a lot of people that would have to be like, okay, it sounds like a good idea, and everybody would have to agree. And so Greg he's getting more bold. They had attacked me. Kelly had told me to go fuck myself on the Segment 17 show, which was fantastic. And, I'd never been spoken about on the actual radio show. So this was the first time. Some have suggested, okay, you're starting to get to him. And I would be hesitant to say that. However, in what I'm about to play for you, it was so out of left field, and it wasn't a great joke. But I think it is kind of an indicator. I do have to agree with you that if they're talking about a particular topic that has nothing to do with me, and then suddenly Greg throws me in as an insult, the background of this clip is they were taking like text messages about people who have gotten like notes home from school, or you got a bad report card or something like that, and that's pretty much all you need to know. And Kelly is reading one from an audience member about this exact thing, and that's where we pick it up. By the way, she's cute in a hat.
Oh, this is good. Tyler said, I went to a high school where my science teacher was also a magician. 9 times out of 10, he wouldn't teach, but he'd do magic tricks for us instead.
Yes.
Well, one day I made him really upset by giving him an eye roll when I was sick of his magic BS. He made me stay after class and called my mom. I told my mom how he was wasting our time with magic tricks instead of teaching us, and the entire class is fed up. My mom yelled at him until he turned red and hung up on her.
Okay. Wow. Now that's good. It's a good text. Listen where Greg goes.
Wow. That is a fragile teacher, man.
Magician teacher.
That guy should have gone into podcasting. He's so thin-skinned.
Okay. Now, I talked about this. You can call me a lot of things. There's a million and one things you can say about me. But there is no one that exists who would ever think that I am thin-skinned. And there are no examples of me being thin-skinned because I'm not. That's what makes this so silly. It's a bad insult, and the timing of it is so questionable. It's like, what the fuck? Ugh, boy. And then the idea that it's floating around in his noggin, and rather than actually doing the show, he's focusing on an insult about little old me, who's sitting here in a dormer above my garage, yelling at clouds, wearing sweatpants and slippers for the last 6 years. And so, okay. I'm kind of glad it happened. I'm very glad it happened. So I did what I do. I said, Greggy is he's going after EZ. Hashtag Burn King. Hashtag in your kitchen. Hashtag try hard. Hashtag better help. Folks are having a field day on the comments. And also unique to this, because I've never really, it's just recently that they've started to bring me up, okay? And I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the Who Are These Free Beers show, which is a benefit of me doing that show with Ben Glaze. And by the way, we just did another episode of it yesterday, patreon.com/Eric Zane. Included in that episode, and this is a tangent, so bear with me. We featured a moment that their audience discussed on their subreddit about this really fucked up moment where the gang was all together in Nashville and nothing was weird, but Greg had an interaction with a staff member at the hotel who referenced something about how the rest of the group, when they were leaving because he stayed back, was picking on him. And he stewed on that for the rest of the weekend. And then on the air, he brings it up, prefaces it by saying, this might be awkward. Why were you making fun of me? Now, I'm paraphrasing. I don't have it in front of me. I don't have the clip in front of me, but he was like serious. And Steve's like, we were? And then he gives like the background of this subversive moment. And it was nutty. And they had to like reassure him that they weren't and talk their way out of it on the radio. What a pile of shit. I mean, it's a pile of shit scenario, and what a horrible thing to do. You know where that could have gone? That could have gone from any one of about 1,000 places. I'll give you this. It was interesting. I'll give you that much. But you're lucky. You're lucky that they are frightened of you. This is what I mean when I say Greg shells. They are walking on Greg shells. If I would have been there, I would have been like, yeah, grow up, little boy. And what's interesting to me is every time you turn on that show, Greg is like, man, I'm a new man. I've been going to therapy. I'm so much better now. I mean, ever since I started going to therapy, and it's like, I don't know that you have improved. What? Jeremy writes, quote, podcasters have thin skin. Anyways, why won't my coworkers hang out with me after work? Coming up next, how do you load the dishwasher? Yeah, that was bad. So make sure you go to patreon.com/Eric Zane and try it out for 7 days free. And you can, Ben and I really took a deep dive on that moment, bit by bit, on that awkwardness of when Greg was hurt in the hotel lobby. And they all looked at him when he was calling them out about it like he was a psychopath. Kelly did manage to talk her way out of it. I think Steve was on the verge of wanting to strangle him. And then they kind of glossed over it. But the unprofessionalism of just letting them have it on the air was fucking terrible. I mean, I've let my pants down professionally many times with Hot Wings. I yelled at Freeber several times, and there were terrible moments. This was a terrible moment. You got to hear this. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. Anyway, enough of that. I wanted to point out that, whenever I promote Who Are These Free Beers on Facebook, I'm usually inundated with emails and comments from people telling me to go fuck myself and you're an idiot, you're never going to get over it, you're thin-skinned, they're living in your head rent-free, and it's like, I don't know if that's true. It's that show it makes for bountiful revenue, okay? There is no question that show is something that people like. Pat writes, Free Beer is clearly insecure about that pile of shit he puts on. He knows EZ built that show and has struggled mightily to hold it together without him. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. The show is fine, I think, in terms of ratings. We've talked about that. I don't know if the overall audience is any bigger. I think it would be smaller because fewer people are actually listening to the radio. But I know that the revenue on all radio across the board is down, so who knows? He is the one that's thin-skinned, thin-haired, thin on content, thin on entertainment, and wit, just to name a few. Those are all true. And there aren't any comments from people beating the shit out of me. And I think that that's an interesting dynamic because of how it always is people letting me have it whenever that takes place, whenever something like that happens. Kelly writes on that same clip as Friday, talking about Super Bowl parties, Freebeers says, I'd have a party, not that you would come. Left me laughing and waiting for you to make fun of. Literally only listen for you to make fun of their ridiculous Let's Play a Game radio show. I knew you on the show since you were on in Iowa. I followed you when you got the boot and your podcast. I cannot participate in the live stream as I am a mail carrier and just listen as I walk my route. But hey, Kenny, I have a pretty smile. Outstanding, Kelly. She also says, I know I need to get on the Patreon. Don't fucking yell at me. In the meantime, thank you for all you do in keeping me entertained while I take a 10-mile walk delivering mail. No, like I've said before, the Patreon is not for everybody. I don't pressure people into the Patreon. It's there if you want it. It's just piling up content. It's not going anywhere. When you do ever decide to take the plunge, it's, you've got that much more to catch up on. So there you go. Tom says Kenny has been suddenly on an absence, and since we haven't a clue what he's into, aside from his suspect explanation, I think he's into some weird stuff. Yeah, I don't think Kenny's into weird stuff. Kelly says, now this is going to push him over the edge. This is not me saying it. It's just me reading it. some weird Bible diet, and easy is bad for his soul. If anything, Zane is what gets me through mine. Thank you, buddy. Let's eat some meat and listen to Zane. Kelly's a spirit animal. I like that. Not Kelly Cheese, but this Kelly, who I guess is in Iowa. Outstanding, Kelly. Chris says something in the chat that he says quite often, brick by brick, which is what this show is. It's kind of like these little teeny tiny moments where I'm like, oh, I got that guy and I got that girl. I got you now. You're mine. I'll thank you. And then you just build it up. And I ain't going anywhere, so just strap yourselves in and enjoy the ride. Carrie writes, hello, EZ. I've emailed you before, but I don't expect you to remember. Just wanted to say that I still love the podcast after all these years. I cannot listen live. I've done it once under the name of Blarmy Wife, but I usually listen later in the day during my commute. Lately, I've been caught up on new content. So I've been re-listening to Who Are These Free Beers, and going back through them time and time again is just so satisfying. Your commentary on the current show, and Ben Glaze's commentary, don't forget him, is just confirmation to me that they buried their own grave the day they fired you. Thank you. I appreciate that. They can go ahead and be proud of their 30 share or 30 share of weirdo LARPing losers. And it's funny because tangent time, I just sent a bunch of pictures. That's a great describer of the Free Beer and Hot Wings show audience, because that's true. Whenever there's pictures on the segment 18 page of these people, I'm like, what's going on here? And I just recently sent a collage of pictures to Radio Voice Linda, or Murder Lover Linda. More on why she's called that now later on. And I go, what is up with these people? They all look fucked up to me. And for Carrie to call them weirdo LARPing losers makes me go, oh, okay, that's a great descriptor. She says, I still follow them on Facebook and Reddit, and the pictures they post with audience members from live shows show the kind of people that find their insufferable drivel entertaining. Yuck. Admittedly, I listened to them for a bit after you were fired, but I've been following the podcast since the early days of your videos in your kitchen. Wow. But after Joe was not fired after flying laptop day, I was done. Seriously, by the way, I talked to Ashley just a few days ago. She's doing outstanding. She's got a great job and doing awesome. Carrie says, seriously, never stop doing Who Are These Free Beers, and please ignore or just keep trolling your haters. You live rent-free in all their heads, not the other way around. I know that. She says, you and I agree on probably almost nothing, but except for Free Beer being a complete asswipe and his show sucks. But I realize that your show is about, I realize what your show is about, and if you say something I don't agree with, there is at least some comedic value to it, so I keep listening. Anyways, I don't mean to make this all about me. This email is already way longer than I intended. But I just wanted to say, keep up the good work. Never apologize for being you. I am bringing my 6- and 4-year-old girls to Princess Night at the Griffins on Saturday. I hope to get some good footage of you walking across the ice for your infamous potty breaks. It's because of my prostate. Who knows? Maybe this will be the first time you fall. If not, maybe I can at least make fun of your pants. Go fuck yourself, loser, she says. Sign, Carrie. It's a great email. I appreciate that. She writes, and then I wrote back, oh my God, I seriously love you for sending this. You seem like also another one of my spirit animals. Thank you so much. If Diana ever croaks, I'm marrying you. Sign, your pal, EZ. Well done, Carrie. I appreciate that. I don't know why I keep getting the sound of USB being unplugged. It'll probably be about 6 months before I try to track that down. I'm not going to lie to you. I need to take a break. And what's crazy is that this is a short show, but I still need to take a break because I've been chugging the water. And so that's what's going to happen. You hang in there, and I will be right back. Special hello to Free Beer, Hot Wings, Kelly, Maitland, and Steve and Tommy. I appreciate you watching or listening. It's good to have you as part of the audience. All right, that is Act 1 of the podcast. Act 2 is available right after this one. Go check it out. What are you doing? Don't miss a second of it. Thank you so much.